Welcome to my Saturday live. I'm here on Saturdays. I'm Manwara Ali, and I'm here on Saturdays to talk about community leadership. And normally I'm here with Lolette Hudson, and we have a leadership conversation. We talk about leadership. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about. So I'm a leadership coach and consultant, and I'm here on Saturdays just to talk about anything associated with leadership, particularly women in leadership. So, I want to today talk about youth and the untold power and potential young people have to lead and how we need to be tapping into that. So, I'm going to quickly cover a number of things. If you are somebody who's working with young people or want to work with young people, perhaps what I share will be useful to you and how you can enable young people, the next generation, our future, to be a lot more confident, to build their confidence and take or step up into those positions that they could do to get themselves ready and prepared for future leadership position. I personally would like to see lots of women, particularly young women that are in education or not even in education and who want to go into senior top level jobs but need that support and training to be able to do that. That's what I would like to see. But I feel that as leaders, we have a responsibility to support that generation, the new generation. And what I will also mention is the current situation in Bangladesh, which is all about students at the moment and student protests. So I have a group of young women that I am currently working with, and they are organizing a networking event, a fantastic event for women to come together to network. Now, the young women that are organizing it are aged between 16 to about 27, a group of six young women. Now, the women have been given the opportunity to organize this event, be decision makers, share power and autonomy to make decisions and organize an event, which means many of them may not have the confidence or the ability or may never had the opportunity to be able to do something like this. But the event organizing and the planning that they do is going to help develop those skills. So that's these are women that are organizing at the moment, meeting on a regular basis, and I'm hoping that they're going to come to one of the Saturday lives, maybe next Saturday, where I can ask them about, their desire, why, their reasons for joining, and what motivated them to want to learn more about leadership and to learn more about fundraising. So the event on the 16th of November, get your ticket as soon as they're released, but we're nowhere near the releasing of tickets yet. However, I can tell you it's going to be a fantastic event. There'll be music, there'll be dance, an opportunity for women to let your hair down, women only event. And we're expecting between 70 to 80 women to attend. There will be an opportunity to also network with fellow professional women and really connect with others who you could in future end up collaborating with, women that you could end up working together. Potentially it could be that they might be able to solve a problem that you have. Business women, women that just generally who like to volunteer in the community, or many of them are leaders in the community. And those women who lead in the community often don't aren't very visible, so you may not even see them on social media or see them anywhere front facing. However, these women are instrumental in making change within the community. So that's what the event will have. It will be full of women who are making change within communities. And my intention is to get the women connected and to learn from each other and really strengthen our connections, because when we feel connected and united, we feel confident and we feel power. Now, power is a word that many of us don't feel very comfortable about because several reasons for that. But I think the one that's on the top of my mind right now is what's happening in Bangladesh, and a direct result of what's happened. You've got somebody in power, female, in power, Sheikh Hasina, who is the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. And you have student protests, and the student protests that have happened in Bangladesh have come as a direct result of students voicing their opinion, students fighting for their rights. And following that, what's happened is the person who is in power and the police and the army, the military, who were called on to actually shoot to kill. Many of those students have died. I hear that nearly 2,000 students have been injured, and they say approximately 200 students have been killed, shot to death by the police or the military. So it's quite difficult, I think, when you're living in the UK or wherever you're living in the world and you have family in Bangladesh, and this is the state of the world. We live in the UK and we are very privileged in comparison. However, my question is always to leadership and women in particular. You have a lot of influence in how you can support and empower the next generation of young people to become leaders. And are we doing that? Are we actually using our influence? Are we using our power in the right way to empower young people, the next generation, instead of completely taking the power away and preventing any sort of challenge or opposition or a view or an opinion which might be different to ours? I think a lot of people have a problem with that. It feels really weird today because Lola isn't here and I'm having this conversation on my own. But thank you to those who do come across my Saturday live and decide to join. I appreciate you being here. And I also appreciate if you could kindly make sure that you subscribe, because I'm live on LinkedIn, but I'm also live on YouTube. And I'm doing this consistently on Saturdays. You are most welcome to ask me any questions while you're here. Most welcome to send me messages via my YouTube channel or LinkedIn, and I would be very happy to respond. And yeah, it would be a joy to be able to respond to any sort of questions specifically to me. I've been doing YouTube for the last 3 years at least, and I have to say, for somebody who's not comfortable, I continue to do this. I'm actually quite pleased with the comments and the feedback I've had from some of you. Thank you for your comments, and you will see that my content will change according to your needs and some of the feedback I've had. So, some of the amazing feedback I've had is around my shorts. I've been told I should do more that is related to nature. So, if you are one of those people that have given me this feedback, thank you very much. And thank you for your support. I shall continue to do what helps the channel, because growing my channel and reaching a wider audience means also I get to share and have share some really really important stuff, especially to the UK British Bangladeshi community, who are many of who are following me right now. So there was something I was going to share, and that is about the Bangladesh unrest. I did speak about it last week. Hi, Catherine. Good morning. Lovely to have you here. Um, and let me just see if I can share. Right. This is the current situation in Bangladesh. Just gonna give you an I mean, this says 150 lives have been lost.
এটা ভুল হইতেই পারে, কিন্তু ভুল যখন হয়, ভুলটা রিয়েলাইজ করার পর ক্ষমা চেয়ে নিলে মানুষ ঠান্ডা হয়।
সেইখান থেকেই আমরা
Just wanted to give you a quick flavor of what's happening in Bangladesh. So, a few weeks ago, student protests started in opposition of a quota system, which allowed a huge number, 56% of civil service jobs would be reserved for a number of groups. And the students from universities in Dhaka, in Chittagong, Barishal, Khulna, all over Bangladesh started protesting against it because it was a quota system that had been suspended back in 2018 when the student protests started initially then. And in 2018 it had been suspended following a student movement, and this time it was recently reinstated. So the students, obviously many of whom spend a lot of money to go through a very expensive education system in Bangladesh, only to come out of the system and have very little opportunity for some of those highly sought after government civil service jobs. So the protest started, and since the protest started, there were a number of incidences, and the Prime Minister of Bangladesh also said a few things that were quite upsetting for the students. They made them really angry, and the protests got out of hand. She then deployed the army, and there were orders for curfew. And normally in Bangladesh, curfew means you shoot to kill if anybody is seen. So many young people have been shot dead, and it's a complete madness because the protests have now grown. The quota system has now changed from 56% to a much much lower 7%, and that means 93% of those jobs now anyone can apply for, which is great result for the student movement. But the protest is really growing because people are not happy with the leadership of the country. You know, how is it being led? And it's very dictatorial because any opposition is usually stifled. I think in this case, what's happened is many of those students who protested, the student leaders they were arrested, detained, and tortured by police in some cases. And it's only now that some of those leaders have been arrested and the protests continue. In fact, now it's about, they want the prime minister to apologize. And I'm sitting here in the UK wondering, could this possibly mean that the current politics of Bangladesh might finally change, and perhaps those future leaders could end up being the ones that make that change. There is huge power in the next generation, and no matter how much you try to control or hold back people's voices and people's desire for change, um, it's sooner or later going to burst, and people are going to come back and react. And it could go completely out of hand as it has in Bangladesh. So my current interest in the UK as a community leader, as somebody who talks about leadership and supports and advocates, champions leadership in women, I'd like to see much more support and empowerment that is focused towards helping young women. So we actually support the confidence building from a lot more earlier on, from a younger age. I was maybe very young, but like in 16, 17, 18, when I was volunteering. And I think myself, had I not done the volunteering, it would have really not helped me. But I always lacked confidence. So I think for women out there, I know you may be doing lots of volunteering and maybe getting involved in a lot of things, but you still question your ability, you still question your level of confidence. And what I've learned over the years is that confidence comes from just doing. And so this group of young women that we're working with at the moment are just going to be doing it. Of course, they're going to have like adult support and adult supervision. Well, not supervision, but more like, I believe it's the same concept. What Bangladesh Prime Minister could have heeded to is the sharing of power. The best way, in my opinion, to lead is when you are sharing your power. And that, to me, is very much around collaboration. And you collaborate with everybody in your team, no matter what age or what level of experience. Collaboration is the way forward. It's the only way you can succeed in delivering a project. So I'm excited about the 16th of November, and I hope that some of you who will be making the journey, I know, to the event, details will be provided within the next 2 weeks, so you can get everything in your diary. And also, I want to talk about the event I had at the Chartered Institute for fundraising convention. We had a fundraising convention in earlier in July, earlier this year, so last month actually, 3rd and 4th of July. And I was involved in two panels, but the one that I found really fascinating was, well, they were both fascinating. One was on inclusive leadership, and the other one was around what are the cultural barriers that prevent women from stepping into fundraising leadership roles. And I had two panel members, Rifa and Penelope. I'm going to actually provide you the link to that panel session, because it's now on YouTube and you can access it. It's brilliant just to listen to both women talk about and share their experiences and be vulnerable. It's very important that we can connect to other women like ourselves to be able to make a difference. And I think vulnerability is very, very hard. And I know that because I'm doing this every Saturday and I'm not comfortable, but I'm doing this. However, vulnerability is really important because it's only when we can share our stories and our lived experience that other people can relate to us. So I'm going to leave you here now on Saturday, and I will put the link down because I think it's an excellent panel session. And if we had double the time, we could have carried on. There was lots of questions from the audience, and I want you to, as my subscribers, to the people who follow me on LinkedIn. I want you to have access to that. So, hope you have a great Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you again on Saturday and next week. Hopefully, next week with one or two young women that are working on the event because we'd love to hear their thoughts. And it's lovely to hear their thoughts at the beginning of an event so that we can, in some ways, follow their journey and the transformation in the process. I hope you'll join me in that journey and keep supporting the young women so that we can also play a role in empowering them into becoming confident women. Thank you, Catherine. Have a wonderful weekend.